Steve, is it hard for you to convince your clients not to chase the roadrunner of a high market return with risk of falling off the cliff?
I think where you get into right now, when we're back at market highs, the S&P 500, NASDAQ, they're all hitting those highs again. And then this is when you get the big argument between the bears and the bulls. It's going to keep going up forever and it's going to crash. So you go for either one of those. You know, it's going to be somewhere in between the middle is the way I like to look at it. And somebody had, called in last week and said, what about the S&P 500? And I looked at it and I said, the S&P 500 is predominantly driven by 7 stocks. Tesla, Apple, NVIDIA, Alphabet, Amazon, Microsoft, and Meta. Those 7 stocks make up predominantly most of the value of the S&P 500. Well, I know this sounds big, but, you sit here and go, to go from 1 billion to 2 billion, that's a lot of money, and we can't even think in billions anymore. But now we get these Mag 7 stocks that are going from 1 trillion to 2 trillion in value. That's a lot harder to do. That's a lot more growth than it could be there. And this year we've had some significant drawbacks in a lot of those Mag 7, stocks. So make sure that you don't have all your eggs in the same basket. It's amazing. We'll have people come in and they'll own the individual, some of the Mag 7 stocks. And then when we start to do their entire holdings, because there's very few mutual funds out there or ETFs out there that don't own those 7 stocks. And then when I get to bring a report back to somebody that says, hey, you've got about 25 to 35% of your portfolio because of your individual stock holdings are all in those 7 stocks. You got to be careful. Having a good diversified portfolio, I believe, is one of the greatest things you can do for yourself. Give me the best return I can get with the least amount of risk possible.